Hauptstufe! Hauptstufe gegeben! Stecker gefallen!
The Blitz brought hordes of German rockets showering down on the streets of London, marking a new age in rocket technology. And following the test of Britain's first nuclear weapon, work began in earnest on a British-built rocket capable of delivering such deadly payloads across continents. Mixed results led to Britain abandoning its nuclear program and buying Polaris rockets from the Americans. However, one part of the nuclear program survived. The government had seen the potential of a small research rocket developed as part of the program. They believed that this rocket could be adapted to launch satellites. And across the country, work started on Britain's first satellite launcher, Black Arrow.
You haven't rubbed it off, have you, eh?
That's it. That's my handwriting there. That there is my handwriting, so I can honestly say I did work on this engine. That's proof positive of me working on the engine. The skirt would come from AV Road. Then we would put all the chambers, pumps, gearboxes, valves into it. And that's when Fred would come in, and the technician, wouldn't you? If anything wasn't going right, Fred used to go and tweak it one thing or other.
I had to try and find all the pipes that Ray had forgotten to tighten up.
No. Didn't happen, Fred, it didn't happen. You're exaggerating.
Yeah. The management actually on the rocket was very good, which is surprising because it was British management, they're usually rubbish. But the management said, look, these fitter guys, they spend all their lives putting these engines together, they can hear them run over the far side of the site, but they never get to see it. So we went through a phase when we used to invite a couple of fitters over to actually be in the test cell as we ran the engine. And that was good, because, you know, it gave them a lot more interest. And they always built it as well as they could, with a good crowd of blokes, didn't they?
Yeah. We knew how each other worked. We knew what to watch with each other. Arthur would always tighten his bolt up and say, I'll finish before you did yours. There was a bit of joking like that, but yes, we were all very, very thoughtful. We all knew what we were doing, yeah. And in the rocket area, we were on the shop floor working in the rocket area, but we got a rate of pay equal to anybody else anywhere who were on piecework and everything else. So we didn't have to rush, we got it right. And we usually got it right first time, which I'm always very, very proud of, yeah.
We've even got a photograph of him doing that, so he's a piece of history as well, this chap is.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
There are slight differences on the photograph.
Yeah.
But that's all.
There's me anyway, the young version. If I knew then what I know now, what would I have done? I don't know.
It was freezing cold up there most of the time. The winds, they were so strong they could throw pebbles up off the cliff face. But we were issued with duffel coats. And instead of hard hats in those days, it was woolly hats. Looked a bit silly actually. But later on, during the days of Black Arrow, we all had to wear hard hats then, so it looked a bit more professional. But, you know, we were on a shoestring. We had to make do and mend with lots of things down here. Bristol Siddeley Anstey initially designed the engines. Then the motor bay was sent to our East Cowes factory, where it was assembled to the rocket. And then the rocket and the engines were then brought up here and for eventually going through a static firing. We used to come up here with a low loader, pull up here underneath a big canopy, and then the rocket was hauled out of its crate on special gear and put on special trolleys, and then moved through into here. And the doors shut, so it was out of the wind and the rain. And that was it. It would stay here for some weeks while the preparation checks were done, and then it would be put onto a low loader and taken down there towards the gantries. There are two gantries, or there were two gantries. One of the gantry positions is that remote concrete emplacement up there, and there's another one down here. The idea was that we would have one rocket in preparation and another rocket undergoing tests. Only at one time the program was going to require us to do a firing sort of once a month, but it never worked out quite like that. It had to be cut back.
The gantry into which the rocket will now be loaded surrounds the launcher and provides protection from the weather for the rocket itself and for the men working on it.
This is where the gantry stood. You can get up through there. It's 40 feet up. If you look over there, you can see the pads on which the gantry stood. And when it fired, it deflected out down that channel and out to sea. So, I mean, all this was where the action took place. And there was a steel ball, and that held the rocket down and stopped it flying up. And the only command that was necessary to set the rocket in motion was to say, "Let go," and up she went. But that only took place in Australia.
Yeah.
So that was a very important little piece of equipment, because if that failed, it would have gone up through the roof of the gantry. God knows what would have happened. I used to think, God, is it going to break? If it had done so, there would have been absolute mayhem, because it could have landed anywhere. And it could have flown off and landed in France or up country on Portsmouth, or maybe even as far as London. Down below here, there's a big platform where the HTP was handled. That's where the tank, the dispenser tank, was placed, and where the guys actually filled the rocket with kerosene and HTP.